Busy Single Parents. It's me, your favorite author and transformational speaker and busy single parent advocate, Author Mia Turner Whitley, author of Life According to the Busy Single Parent, Success Stories and Solutions to Bring Calm to Your Chaotic World, an Amazon bestseller. You have your copy yet? You can go to my website, miaspeaks.com, to get your personal autographed copy. Yes. So this is for you. This is for you. All the busy single parents out there, all the work that you do, all the amazing things that you do, and you don't get the credit for it. So I want to applaud you today for all of your efforts. Okay, so this week, we had a Me Work assignment last week, right? If you're new to our community, Me Work is work we do on self to become the very best versions of ourselves. Yes. So that means we had to put a little work into it. So our Me Work assignment for last week was to do self-care in a global type way. In other words, it was like going back into your own globe. Things that you have done. Maybe it was some self-care things that you did or do for yourself that maybe you stopped doing it for whatever reason. So the challenge was for you to find something and bring it back alive. Did you take time to do that? Because guess what? Self-care is not selfless, right? In order to be our very best self, then we have to work on us first. Yeah, we're taking that time to do that. Otherwise, you know what happens? You live a life by default. What is a life by default? Just going along with whatever is whatever, and that's it. Versus a life of design. I want to play an active role in who I am. And one of those things is getting the self-care that we need. So today we're going to talk about the culture. I think that's what I titled this one, For Your Culture. So in thinking about For Your Culture, this time of the year, it's Black History Month, and I usually don't like giving like a date or anything like that. Trying to keep it timeless, but I mean, it is February the 22nd, 2025, the last Sunday for Black History Month, and I would be remiss if I did not talk about the culture. So today I'm going to give you some tips around things that you can do to help build up your culture. So because I'm for all the people, right? So Black History is about celebrating Black history, period. However, Black history isn't the only history. There are so many cultures. If it was my world, every culture would have a month that we would highlight. All the different cultures, but that hasn't happened just yet. So let's talk about it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the importance of knowing and embracing your culture. Yeah, you can feel it with my outfit. I'm embracing all of my blackness because I love me. I'm Black and I'm proud about it. I didn't pick the skin that I'm in, but since I'm in it, I'm going to be all that I can be while I am in it. Okay? So looking at the culture, spending time with that, finding out, maybe study some different people that you had just not studied or read about, right, in our history or in our culture, and just understanding that and sharing it with others. So important. And then if you want to take it a step further, look at other cultures. I remember when I was working on, I believe it's my undergrad, and there was this class that we had to take about all these different cultures. And I was so amazed at the history of not only Black history, but Native American Indian history, Hispanic history, all types of cultures, the various cultures. Because as we know, regardless of how people feel about it, the United States is a melting pot. We have a lot of people that come here. And why do they come here? For that freedom. But I'm going to leave that one right there. Okay. The next thing that's important is when we're thinking about cultural awareness is taking care of us. And that includes self-love and self-care. So I can't say that enough about self-care. I can't say that enough about self-love. How can you love someone else? How can you love your neighbor and you don't even love yourself? Your neighbor is anyone that you come in contact with. So yes, the good book says to love thy neighbor as you love yourself. And some of us just hate ourselves, probably why so much hate. I mean, just think about that. So that self-care and that self-love is not selfish, right? And it's not selfless. I hear so many people talking about, oh, this self-care stuff people going too far with, and self-love is God first, and then Okay, and then what's the second verse? What comes after love God? Okay, I'm going to leave that right there too, because in there is you. Yes. So how can you teach and help someone else? That's a whole nother lesson, y'all, really, because we can get into some deep emotional, mental heartaches, heart pains, trauma, things that have happened to cause us to feel the way that we do. So some of us, for our mental, emotional well-being, maybe it's time for us to just sit down and just really get connected with ourselves in prayer. Don't go along with the journey. Don't go on the journey alone. Some of us may need a therapist, a counselor, and guess what? It's okay, because it's about making you better. Yes, making you better. You got so much love to give, right? There are so many hurting people out there, and people need to hear your traumatic story when you overcome. If you're still in that hurt thing, you're going to come out bitter, mad, and angry, so it's okay. Get your healing, all right? So that's self-care and that's self-love. Those two things are so important when we're talking about our culture and our history. What is it that we can do? So in today's lesson, I want to kind of bring that together to where I'm talking a little bit about culture, because it's so important to thine own self be true. It's not, we can expand that. It's about knowing who I am, knowing the history of those that brought me here, my family and whatnot. Okay, so me work assignment for this week is a challenge. Yes, to take 15 minutes for self-care. That may be breathing, that may be taking a small walk, it may be reading a book. Whatever it is, find time to love on you and be your own oxygen. All right, so that's all I have for you today, and take 15.